Hi, my name is Mark Mabry. Welcome to my home. I'm going to show a little bit about my art collection. It's art that I made, and it's all depicting the Savior, and I have 4 minutes or less, so excuse me if I go kind of quickly. But I want to start somewhere special. Like in making the art, it was a really spiritual experience for me because I had to spend so much time imagining and reading, like, very visually, the scriptures. And usually when we shot, I was 100% there and engaged, but there was one time when I stopped paying attention, and I learned something later about that. And it's when we were making this image of Jesus healing the blind man. It was amazing. We shot it up. We set it up and shot it in probably about 15-20 minutes, which is the fastest thing that I ever did. I'm usually pretty slow and methodical, but it felt right, and we hit it, and we were done. And we prayed and we sang before it, so there'd be a cool spirit there when we shot it. But I got done, I hopped up, tossed my camera to my assistant. I'm like, "Whoa, we're done." I look around, and everybody was in tears, and I knew that I had missed something, that I had gone too fast. So for me, this is always going to be a special lesson. About 3 months later, when I had hung this up in an exhibit, it was at the Mesa Temple Visitor Center, and people were walking through it. My sister-in-law, who worked for me at the time, goes, "Mark, how did you get those goosebumps?" Like, goosebumps? I hadn't noticed that these goosebumps in the image on the man's arm. Later, he sent me the 3-page letter about what it was like to imagine being healed by the Savior. So that's been a lesson in life. Just slow down for me. Another cool lesson was when my son went off on his mission to Portland, Oregon, Spanish speaking. He served in the Mexico MTC first. And he called one day, and he was pretty homesick, just having a rough time. And we're like, "Oh, you're gonna be okay, buddy," And a little bit later, he sends me a picture, and he's like, "Dad, I don't know how you did this." I was like, "Did what?" Well, when he was about 7 years old, I was busy shooting, and I needed to take him somewhere with me to spend some time. And so I took him, and we were shooting, actually, this picture up here. And we were traveling to Mexico, and I wanted to make a gift for my wife. And so I had our costume person give me a little, Jewish boy outfit, and I dressed up my son, and I shot this for my wife. And I hadn't planned on ever publishing it, but I kind of did last minute. And turns out that I had forgotten that I gave permission to the Mexico MTC and Visitor Center to hang a ton of my art. And they had a bunch of my art, which he had noticed before. But when he went to the temple that day, when he was homesick, and they went into the Visitor Center, there was this picture of him learning from Jesus. And that was super meaningful for me, and symbolic to know that, as much as I could do as a dad, when I sent him off on a mission, he was in God's hands. He was being taught by the Savior, and he'd be okay. Anyway, okay, that's another one. Probably the most well-known pictures that I have are this one called Resurrection, and this one called Walking on Water. And what's sacred to me about these is where they hang. I know that there are a lot of homes now that have them hanging in their house. And anytime, any depiction of Jesus, not just the ones that I made, but when somebody hangs up a picture depicting Jesus Christ in their house, that's pretty loaded, and it's pretty risky to say that much about yourself to your family and everyone that visits your house. And so what's sacred to me is that these end up kind of all over the internet alongside people's testimony, which usually says, "Hey, listen, I know I'm not perfect, but I'm trying." And that means a whole lot to me. So my time is up, but there's a lot more where that came from, but I'm thankful for a Savior that can remind me to remind me to try to be better, and remind me that when I mess up, I can keep on coming back and keep on trying to be better. So that is my testimony. Again, thanks a lot.